It says, how can Islamic history be included in school and college curriculums with the existing separation between church and state? Well, when I'm talking about including Islamic history, I'm not talking about practicing Islam here. I'm not talking about an Islamic state. Okay, what I'm talking about is that when you are dealing with Islamic history, you should go back to the primary sources. In the same way, in any discipline, you want to first deal with the primary sources, and then the secondary sources, and then the other sources. What happens when you're dealing with Islamic history, and sometimes African history, is that they don't deal with primary sources. They deal with what somebody said 3 or 4 levels down, and because he came from Oxford University or Sorbonne, they say he's an expert. And scholars will start saying crazy things. And I've heard a scholar, I'm not going to mention any names, but I've heard a scholar, a so-called scholar say, with authority, that Bilal taught the Prophet Muhammad how to pray. Now, for a Muslim, this is totally against all levels of understanding. And nobody, even a drunken historian in the Muslim world or anywhere, has ever said anything close to that. But somehow, people are making these statements off of propaganda books and of stereotyping, which has been done, in the name of scholarship. So really, what I'm saying is that to include it within the curriculum, we should go back to the primary sources and then try to be as objective as we are with other types of history. And within history fields now, people are trying to tell the story from different perspectives. Because if there's a great battle, then you can tell a story from either side, right? The winners or the losers. I mean, it's usually told from the side of the winners. Okay, you can also tell it from the point of view of the people on whose land was the war. And maybe these people never even fought in the war. But they suffered over these 2 kings or 2 rulers fighting and killing each other on their territory. So history can be told from a number of different perspectives. And what I'm saying is, to understand Islamic history properly, you would have to also give the testimony of Muslims themselves to be able to understand Islamic history. And fortunately, we have hundreds of authenticated historical works in Arabic, in Persian, in Turkish, in Swahili, in a number of different languages. We have a number of works that can be read and can be used as primary and secondary source material. Any other questions or anybody has? Oral questions? Yes, ma'am.
To support some of your points, there's another document, which I'm ashamed to say that I can't remember the author's name, even though I worked on this document myself as undergraduate. But it was written in the 17th century, around 1680, 1690 by West African Islamic scholar. And in that document, they describe nations that may be taken in slavery through acts of war. And in the document, it describes the Muslims of West Africa who are black and skin color, and specifically states in the document that these people are not to be enslaved under any condition because they are brothers of Islam. And from that document, the myth of Ham was created and perpetrated by Christian slave owners to justify why dark-skinned people deserved being enslaved in the Americas. And when you look at the original text, which goes to your point of the necessity of going to the primary text, when you go to the primary text, the myth of Ham is not the myth of Ham at all, but it's a discussion of which peoples in Africa have submitted to one another and were therefore free from being taken as slaves. So I just want to use that to underscore your point about the necessity of looking at it from a primary source.
That's right. Any other comments or questions anybody has?